The expansive Rotunda Hall of Eco Hotel and Suites overflowed on Monday, March 4, 2024, as the funeral proceedings of the late Group Chief Executive Officer of Access Holdings plc, Mr. Herbert Wigwe, commenced with a tribute to his distinguished professional legacy. Mr. Herbert Oyewumbu Wigwe, CFR, born on the 15th of August 1966 and passed on the 9th of February 2024, was a distinguished Nigerian banker and businessman, and he served as the Group Managing Director and CEO of Access Holdings, one of Nigeria's premier banking institutions. Tragically, he, along with his wife, Chizoba, and son, Chizi, lost their lives in a helicopter crash on 9th February 2024 in the United States while en route to attend the Super Bowl 58 championship in Las Vegas. The ceremony was attended by the immediate family of the deceased, including his surviving children and siblings, as well as esteemed dignitaries from across the globe and diverse spheres of influence. Among those present were the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambu, former Governor of Gombe State and former Accountant General of the Federation, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Wale Edun, Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, President of the African Development Bank, Mr. Aigboje Aigi Mokwede, CON, former Group Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Alhaji Aliko Dangote, Chairman of the Dangote Group, Mr. Segun Agbaje, Group Chief Executive Officer of GT Holdings, Mr. Atedu Peterside, Nigerian entrepreneur and investment banker, and many others. The proceedings commenced with the rendition of the Nigerian National Anthem, followed by an opening prayer led by Mrs. Soju Kunsoya, Access Bank Executive Director, Corporate and Investment Banking Division. The eulogy of the deceased was eloquently delivered by Mr. Roosevelt Ugbonna, MD CEO of Access Bank.
Herbert's friendship with Aigboje Aigimokwede commenced at Guarantee Trust. They became kindred spirits, even as their careers followed similar trajectories. They shared a deep and close friendship, built on mutual trust, which blossomed into a lifelong business partnership. In 2001, Herbert and I teamed up in an audacious move to buy their own bank, a story which has become a reference point for many young Africans across the continent. Following their successful acquisition of Access Bank, Herbert was appointed Deputy Managing Director. And over the next 11 years, the duo, as they are fondly called, worked seamlessly together, transforming the nondescript 4th Division Bank into one of Nigeria's finest and a top 5 bank in that period. Upon Aigboje's retirement in 2013, Herbert mounted the saddle as the GMD CEO of the bank. He was given a mandate at the time to deliver the vision himself and Ike shared, to transform Access Bank and our institution into the world's most respected African bank. Under Herbert's leadership, Access Bank became Nigeria's largest bank by balance sheet size and one of Africa's top 15 financial institutions.
Notable moments of the night included heartfelt reflections on Herbert's life and legacy by friends, colleagues, and close associates. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Dankwambu described Herbert Wigwe as a beloved brother and friend, highlighting his brilliance, risk-taking spirit, and dedication.
Herbert, I knew him as a very, very hard-working guy. He said he wants to qualify within this first year. I said, but you are doing just your NYSC now. He said, no, he wants to attend the exam. Herbert was enrolled, and first sitting, Herbert passed ICANN exam. And one thing I can say is Herbert is a risk taker. Herbert can take any kind of risk. Herbert can approach any kind of problem and solve that problem, even when you are running away from that problem. Herbert and I acquired this bank, took it from nothing to where this bank is today. After making it one of the biggest banks in Nigeria, expanded the bank and make it a very dependable bank, not only in Nigeria or around Africa, but all over the world. May his gentle soul rest in peace.
Mrs. Catherine Echeozo, former Deputy Chief Executive Officer at GTB, praised Wigwe as a diligent professional, visionary reformer, and audacious banker.
We are part of that initial squad that resumed at Guarantee Trust Bank in the early 90s. We called him Herbie D. We pondered the streets, searching for business, and spent long days and nights learning, strategizing, and driving the business. In those days, one needed to have intellect, energy, and integrity to survive more than a few weeks at Guarantee Trust. If any one of the three was missing, almost certainly it will indeed be a very brief stay at the Plaza head office. I wish that we would all establish our own legacies according to our capacities and God-given talents. Dear friends and family of Herbert Wigwe and everybody, let us not try to understand this catastrophe. We can't. Let us deepen our prayer lives. Let us pray for their souls. Let us pray for the two mummies and daddy they left behind, their children, their siblings, and other family and friends. Let us mourn. Let us pray for all who mourn. Let us pray for ourselves. Let us pray for our various communities and our country. This will give us relief, strength, and a better tomorrow. May God have mercy, as indeed He's a God of mercy.
Mr. Segun Agbaje, the Group Chief Executive Officer of GT Holdings, lauded Wigwe as a clever and results-oriented banker, earning the admiration of many for his remarkable abilities.
Herbert was my colleague, friend, competitor, and brother. Only Herbert could have been all those things to a human being. That was the breath the gentleman had. We started as colleagues. I met Herbert November 1991. We were both in the corporate bank. This gentleman walked in, didn't take off his jacket because we all had our jackets on, but that was Herbert. He was going to do it his own way. He drove a red Golf. Who drives a red Golf? Only a man who's that brazen drives around in a red Golf. Very quickly, Herbert earned our respect. Herbert was one of the cleverest people in Guarantee Trust Bank. He was a credit analyst. But that's not what got him his respect, because we were all good analysts. But Herbert had what we all didn't have. He had the power to chase accounts, network, and deliver things that we all couldn't. Herbert always had time. He would always make the phone call you needed to get you out of sport and bother. It's weird. My last conversation with him was 2 weeks before he died. He came to my house like he sometimes pops by. He talked about nothing but this university. This was his obsession. And the only thing he asked me was would I sponsor some ignorant students? And I made him that promise that I would. I have but one little comfort, by the way, when I think of Herbert, is that Herbert packed into 57 years what most exceptional people will never pack into 2 lifetimes. Rest in peace, friend, but brother.
Dolakbo Ogundimu, Managing Director of Access Bank Ghana, fondly recalled professional moments shared with the deceased, affirming that his memory will forever be cherished.
I met Herbert, I think in 1989. We were both young account officers in Capital Merchant Bank. There were four of us, myself, Herbert Wigwe, Oke Okuzu, and one gentleman called PC Wakwo. When Herbert talks, he always says one of the things he learned during those days of tutelage was that he learned how not to run a failed bank, because we saw a lot of things while we were there. Herbert was always thinking ahead. Always thinking ahead. So when I started working in Access Bank, I tell my colleagues and those that work with me that, please, if you want to go and have a presentation and you want to stand in front of Herbert, please, this is the type of person Herbert is. Do not tell him it's not possible. Please, do not take no for an answer. You must go the extra mile to make sure you deliver. That's what Herbert demanded of all of us. Please, honestly, I can go on. I can go on forever. All I know is that his memory will be a blessing to all of us. He's a great guy, we're going to miss him. But the commitment I'm making here is that the good work he started, which he didn't finish, we will make sure in our lifetime we continue and try to finish as much of it. God help us. Thank you.
Other testimonials on Herbert Wigwe's banking legacy came from Carl Toriola, CEO of MTN Nigeria, Mr. Jamie Simmons, CEO of Access Bank UK, and Dr. Kenneth Okpara, former president of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria. His entrepreneurial achievements were extolled by Mr. Gbinga Uyibode, chairman of Aluko and Uyibode, while Mr. Tunji Olonmayo, Efodi Ekuti, Mr. Bola Onodili Koko, CEO of FMDQ Group PLC, Mr. Rude Brower, and Alhaji Aliko Dangote expressed profound grief at the loss of a friend and visionary leader.
Herbert was a visionary role model in fortitude and a perfectionist who gave so much of himself, is no longer here with us. But his transformative strides are seen all over our economic landscape and even in the heart of social milieu in Nigeria and the rest of the world. Many people, including his family members, friends, and associates, church brethren, mentees, and former acquaintances have written and said a lot about a man who broke all records and pushed boundaries in the realm of banking and applied his fine skills to reshape the entire sector. His legacy in philanthropy will always never be forgotten. I choose to remember his long friendship, undivided loyalty, and his zest for life among numerous other attributes. He was a pillar of strength and support for me, my family, and our businesses. He was not afraid to go out on a limb to help me untie the several knots that actually came up as our organization grew and flourished. He was proud to be part of my success story, and I'm proud to name him my devoted friend, mentee, and brother.
Reflecting on Herbert Wigwe's legacy as a nation builder, Governor Dakpo Abiodun of Ogun State expressed disbelief at his passing. Governor Abiodun noted that the history of the new Ogun State will be incomplete without recognizing Wigwe's significant impact.
I saw a bright future ahead of him, but I never knew he would evolve to become the great man that he became. They say the world belongs to those that dare. Yes, he definitely dared, and he conquered. Personally, I can't thank him enough for believing in me, for being my brother and my friend, for supporting my dreams, for supporting my aspirations and my vision for the good people of Ogun State. From the prompt payment of salaries my first day in the office, to the issuance of a private bond, and several visible infrastructure projects that crisscross the landscape of Ogun State, particularly the Gateway International Airport, the Ekpe-Ijebu Expressway, and several others. The history of the new Ogun State will not be complete without the mention of his contributions.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu of Lagos State fondly remembered moments shared with Wigwe, describing him as a fearless leader. He highlighted Wigwe's unwavering support for his political ambitions, family, and administration, sharing that Lagos will always remember him.
Our brotherly friendship blossomed further. Herbert was one of the very first people that supported my ambition generously. And I said to him, brother, I'm not going there to disappoint you. I will leave, I will work, and I will come back to represent the friendship that we all have together. And he said, count me in. I will give you all the support that you require. Him and my other brother, Iboje, had given me the support from the very first day as the governor of the state. It's countless, it's numerous, it's unbelievable how a man can truly share everything he has with you. Uche is here, Gilbert is here somewhere. Herbert makes it a point of duty every time he's flying out. He drops in at the Lagos South Marina. His greeting is always the same way. Excellency, you don't give up. We'll do it. No, we'll do it. Don't worry. Those things, we'll get it done. You don't have time, oh. Think about it. It's only 4 years going to come now. Let's do it. Those were his words of encouragement.
Mr. Wale Edom, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, lamented the untimely demise of Wigwe, emphasizing his profound impact on the nation's economic landscape.
And Herbert was so full of knowledge, so full of ideas. He was so creative in his thinking, and his optimism was both infectious and very, very encouraging. So when Herbert took over the reins of Access Bank, he kept in touch still, despite the huge amount of work he had, because as we all know, the international presence of Access Group today is the result of the relentless, the tireless work that Herbert and indeed his entire team put in. But despite that, he still had time for philanthropy. He was committed to it, he supported, and he gave his time to benefit the arts, sport, education, and of course, he did so much by way of helping good causes and helping individuals.
Mr. Olayemi Kadusu, Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, urged attendees to celebrate Wigwe's life, highlighting his unwavering commitment to excellence and service.
When I visited his family home, Herbert's parents spoke very lovingly about their son's unwavering commitment to making Nigeria better. A sentiment echoed in Herbert's actions and aspirations. In my personal and professional capacity, my experiences with Herbert affirmed his genuine concern for the welfare of our nation and its peoples. His dedication to service, coupled with his generosity, touched countless lives. Many who interacted with Herbert will tell you of being inspired by his vision, hard work, and dedication to building Access Bank into an international financial services powerhouse. As we bid farewell to Herbert, let us pray for comfort and for solace for his children, his parents, in-laws, and the entire family, who now mourn the loss of their beloved son, their daughter Chizoba, and grandson Chizi. May God's abundant love embrace them during this difficult time, giving them the strength to carry and find healing from their sorrow.
Dr. Akinwumi Adeshina, President of the Africa Development Bank, paid tribute to Wigwe's remarkable qualities, describing him as a dynamic and resilient individual who brought pride to Nigeria and Africa.
Herbert brought pride to Nigeria. Herbert brought pride to Africa. Ever since I heard of Herbert's passing and spoke with his best friend and Access Bank co-founder, Aigboje Imokwede. Like you and millions of others across Africa and around the world, it seems as if life came to a crawling halt. His sudden passing, along with his beloved wife, Chizoba, and his dear son, Chizi, has been a painful and sad event that has left all of us devastated and numb. Chizoba was Herbert's rock. She stood by him. She was a constant provider of love, comfort, and support.
The solemn atmosphere was interjected with classical music interludes performed by Shalom Choral and a special rendition by Dare Atalade. A poignant closing address was delivered by Aigboje Imokwede, CON, a close friend of the deceased, who praised Wigwe's passion for Africa's transformation, urging his children to uphold his legacy.
My brother and partner Herbert spoke publicly about his belief that time waits for no one. And Herbert lived life as a man on a mission who had limited time within which to complete his work. The fierce urgency of now drove him to pursue and attain heights of excellence that match the best of the best across the world. Yet despite the mountains scaled and the heights attained, Herbert still worried about whether he would have sufficient time to realize his ultimate dream, a dream we shared for a transformed Africa. Tochi, Hannah, David, tell Okachi that Uncle Aigboje said, there are moments and there are moments. This is a moment. Herbert was committed to building an African continent where men and women can aspire and live to their full potential. He isn't the only person committed to this objective, but there are very few people in the world whose life and legacy illuminate this commitment the way Herbert Wigwe has. Some have told me in the last few months, Herbert was very concerned about the state of our nation and our continent. This is indeed true. And Herbert knew, ladies and gentlemen, that time was not on Nigeria's side, nor is time on Africa's side.
The evening concluded with a heartfelt vote of thanks by Mrs. Bolaji Agbede, the interim CEO of Access Holdings.